Hey everybody, Mr. Regan here, and up to now you've completed task 2 where we've looked at some population data about our australopes and their fur. And you answered a question thinking about the simulator, why do you see these kinds of changes in our australope population? So kind of brainstorming why our australopes would change based on what you remember from them. And in order to really begin answering this question, we then look at task 3 where we're going to be looking at different features in our simulator that are going to help us set up different things to really explore why our australopes would be changing the different traits, okay? Starting from that high variation of low fur traits to these higher fur traits with a lower variation as we see these distributions over here. When we get done with this video, make sure you come back and put your X in your different rows and check in with your teacher if you put your X's in the yellow or red. But we're looking to understand all of the new simulator features, at least the ones we're about to focus on. And then we're also going to be looking at if we understand how to view the changes in our population over time. So let's get into it. This is our simulator, and we're going to be diving into different builds that we can do within our simulator today. Today, we're going to be doing fur and temperature A, okay? And when we click on that, we're going to hit yes to get it started. But something interesting that hopefully some of you begin to realize as you explored our simulator is we have our abiotic factors, our non-living factors here. And as we change these, so for example, temperature, you'll notice in the background here, okay, it'll start to change based on how you change our different abiotic temperatures. So that was the temperature. Down here, you'll start to see the rainfall. You'll start to see more blue to show more water in the water table. And then last but not least, you can change the surface color of our actual environment. Now, we are, like I said, going to be using these different toggles here to really change our factors to see how they influence our different populations. Now, like I said, today we're going to be doing fur temp A as a way of exploring that set of data that we had. And what you're going to be doing is toggling our temperature here and changing it in a certain way to see the effect on our different populations. In this case, it's our australopes and our plants, those thorn palms. Now, whenever we change our different abiotic factors, however you want to change it, you'll hit the next button. And there'll be some information that you might want to change again. Nonetheless, when you're ready to run your simulator, it will give you a histogram of how the population looks at the start. And when you run it, a few things are going to happen. Number one, you're going to be able to see our populations down here, and you can zoom in and you can kind of zoom out to see what they're doing. Okay. We have our generation bar up here, which we're going to look at in a second. And then we have our histogram icon down here. If we click on the histogram, we can do a few things. We can toggle between different populations. In this case, we only have the australopes, and we can toggle between different features they have. In this case, the only feature we have is fur, and we can kind of see the distribution of the different traits and how much variation within those traits that we have. Now, again, you can kind of zoom in and zoom out to see kind of what's going on with our australopes, but if you notice, they're kind of slowly eating the plants, which doesn't really help us see how populations change over time. So up here, okay, we have our different features that allow us to kind of affect how time works in our simulator. So I can hit the play button, okay, and notice it's going to start my simulator. They're going to move around, okay, they're going to make babies, they're going to eat the different plants, whatever it may be, and those changes are going to show up in my histogram here, okay. If I want to speed up my passing of time, I can do that. And notice my australopes and my thorn palms are going to be in sped up mode. And the generations here are going to start to move up and up and up and up and up. Now, as the generations move up and up and up and up and up, if you're watching the trait histogram down here, you're going to see the population might change a little bit. So it went from 91 to 95. You're going to start to see the different distribution of traits is going to change as well. Okay. Nonetheless, you can change the speed, and you can watch generations pass a lot faster. And last but not least, if you hit the Analyze button, we can start to look at how the population changed over time. So down here on this bar, you can toggle between whatever generation you ended on. In this case, it was generation 26, and you can toggle back to generation 1. Now notice, generation 1 has those lines. Okay, because if we pull it all the way back, during generation 1, this is what the distribution of fur looked like. We had really high distribution of that low to medium variation of fur. And as time went on, you'll start to see that those blue lines changing. Those blue lines represent the changes of those traits as we get all the way closer to our final generation here. Okay, it'll show you your factors, and it will show you, obviously, kind of what up here you're changing. In this case, it's the fur. And when we ended, you'll notice there's some differences in our histogram. So going back to our build, we looked at the temperature slider, which is one of our abiotic factors. We looked at the histogram window here. We looked at the speed controls for the variations. And then we looked at the analyze page here to kind of toggle between what we started with in terms of our distribution of variable traits and then what we ended with. So at this point, those are all the important features and how we view the changes in population in our analyze page. Go ahead and place your X wherever you need. If you have questions, reach out. Otherwise, good luck.